I just acquired these new knives and I wanted to talk about them with you guys, so let's get into this. So let's start right here. This is one of the new releases from Vosteed. This is the Vosteed Valhund. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I always butcher these names. This guy right here is the Geo Knife Ethereal Cutter. This was a very surprising knife since I'm not very familiar with Geo Knife as a company. So we'll get into that in just a bit. And this guy right here, this is the QSP Mustang. This right here is limited to only 56. So this sold out pretty quickly. I'm glad I got in just in time to scoop one of those, but I'll talk about this guy last. Let's start right here at the beginning with the Vosteed Valhund. This is a Ray Laconico collab with Vosteed. If you're familiar with Ray Laconico as a designer, he usually likes minimalist knives, and this one definitely fits the bill. It's available in 3 different colors. This guy right here has black anodized titanium handles, and the finish on this blade is called Copper Dune. And I am really digging this knife right here. I've been a big fan of Vosteed knives for the last few years, and they are just underrated as a knife company. They've been putting out some really good stuff. And the Valhund here is no exception. It can be deployed a few different ways. You can see dual thumb studs on each side of that blade. And see that right there? It's a front flipper. So if you guys like front flippers, this is definitely a good one. They put jimping right there on that front flipper tab to make it fairly easy to flip that open with your thumb. But anyways, let's get back to this. Like I already mentioned, titanium handles. Those are black anodized titanium handles. The blade here is a 3.02 inch S35 VN clip point with a flat grind and, like I said, that Copper Dune finish. This copper on black titanium handles looks absolutely stunning in my opinion. It does have a frame lock. You can see that right there. And the bearings are caged ceramic ball bearings, and it has that classic Vosteed action. Super buttery smooth. I really don't hear a lot of knife guys out there talking about Vosteed's action, but it is just so smooth every single Vosteed knife that I own. But let's get back to this. No back spacer back here, just a couple barrel spacers right there at the tail. The titanium pocket clip, it is tip up only and not reversible. And regarding the hardware, you can see it's all matching that blade color. The pivot, the screw right there on the frame lock, and the screws right there holding in those barrel spacers. So once again, that blade is 3.02 inches long. Overall, it is 6.90 inches long. And it's definitely a slicer. That blade thickness is what? 0.118 inches thick. So being a fairly thin blade stock here, it's definitely slicey. So let's bring in a piece of paper. I'll probably do this with every single knife. And yeah, this thing is gonna be like through warm butter. So this is the Vosteed Valhund. What's the price? $179. If you guys are interested in this, I'll have links down below in my description box, but Vosteed knives tend to sell out fairly quick. So if you're interested in this knife, I would jump on it fairly fast. So let's move on here to the Geo Knife. This is the Geo Knife Ethereal Cutter. It's a very interesting name, and I'm not familiar with Geo Knife as a company, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, but this is the knife that surprised me the most here. And if I bring in the box the knife came in, you can see Geo Knife right here, some socials right there in the back, but on the other side, it does say made in China. So I'm not sure moving forward how the tariffs will affect this company, but I hope they don't affect them too much because, like I said, I am really liking this knife here. And I'd love to check out some more of their stuff. So let me give you guys a close-up of that blade. 3.03 inch Bowler M390 clip point blade. That's a flat grind and a stone washed finish right there. Grade 5 titanium handles, and check out that design, man. It makes for a really nice grip on those handles. The ergos here are just fantastic. I know it's the 3rd time I'm saying this, but it just took me by surprise, especially for a company I've really never heard of before. It can be deployed with dual thumb studs right there, or you can see it has the crossbar lock. So either deploy it with the crossbar lock or with the thumb studs. The overall length is 7.09 inches, and let's take a look at that titanium pocket clip right there. The titanium pocket clip, it is tip up only and non-reversible. So for you lefties out there, you're SOL, and that's a damn shame because they could have easily made this pocket clip reversible, and with this axis lock, it would have been a pretty nice ambidextrous knife. And check this out, even the pivot cap right there is made of grade 5 titanium, and all the screws are titanium. And I believe there's washers in the pivot there. It doesn't feel like ball bearings as I flick this open and close it. So I believe there's washers in there. I'll put it on the screen after I confirm that on their website. But I know the handles, the pivot cap, and the screws are all made of titanium. I'm not 100% about the barrel spacers though. But you would think everything else is titanium. You would think those barrel spacers are made of titanium as well. At least I would hope so. And the ethereal cutter is another slicing knife. That blade thickness right there is 0.12 inches thick. So let's bring in my piece of paper again, and I don't know, right here, let's see. Yeah, once again, it is just super sharp right out of the box, and I'm just loving this knife. This is a perfect EDC for me. I love the clip point, the titanium handle, super grippy. Let me just give you a close-up of that design there on those titanium handles. I've always been a fan of this type of design on my knives, and I don't have too many. So I was really pleased to see that when I opened this box. Like I said, this is a perfect EDC for me. Even though in my county, that 3.03 inch blade might get me in a little bit of trouble, the legal limit where I live is 3 inches or under. It's just so close. Geo Knife, I wish you would have made that 0.03 inches smaller, and I could easily just walk around with this. I'm going to anyways. Who are we kidding? It's not really your fault. It's the stupid state that I live in's fault for having dumb knife laws. But Geo Knife is asking $125 for the ethereal cutter here. Definitely a great price, especially for Bowler M390 and grade 5 titanium. Absolutely love this guy. But let's move on to the last knife I wanted to show you guys, and that is this right here, the QSP Mustang. And yes, the Mustang is limited to 56 units. So once again, I had to jump on this as soon as it became available on the QSP website, which was really surprising because I'm not really somebody that gravitates towards QSP knives other than the Penguin. I have 4 Penguins, and I believe that's the only model of QSP knives that I own. I always say that the QSP Penguin might be one of the best budget knives on the market today. So when they released this guy right here, which was more of a high-end knife, the high-end materials, the limited availability, and the price tag made me want to jump on this. $199, under $200. And yeah, it is a very, very cool knife. Check this guy out. That is a 3.125 inch M390 drop point blade with a flat grind and a satin finish. That is one gorgeous blade. These scales right here are made from desert ironwood. But the true eye candy for this blade are those inlays. Those are Raphir fossils. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that name right, Raphir. I'll put it on the screen down below just in case I am. But this Raphir fossil is basically a mammoth fossil that dates back to the Ice Age. That's right, apparently this company takes mammoth fossils and their tusks and all that stuff, puts them together with resin, and creates really fancy inlays for knives, jewelry, whatever. And that's what these inlays are, so check that out. It actually has mammoth fossils in there. That is insane. Those inlays sit on stainless steel bolsters, and yeah, it also has a lockback. Very nice. Caged ceramic ball bearings in the pivot there, and you can see there's no thumb studs at all. You have to open this with, let me show you the other side, that nail nick. But I rarely use that nail nick. I just use the pinch and grab when opening this knife. So I'd rather not have that nail nick there at all, actually. But regardless, it's there, and everything here just feels so nice. Really solid click when opening it. This is just a cool knife, especially being limited to only 56 units. And this is one solid feeling knife. Check this out. So the bolsters right there are all one piece all the way around this knife. So if we follow the bolsters, that creates the liner right there and then wraps around to the back spacer, and that back spacer just wraps around that lock back and right back to the bolsters. So that's all one piece here. And give you guys a nice close-up there with the lock back open. So like I said, it just feels really solid. Perfect jimping placement for my thumb right there. No finger choil though. So you can see no finger choil or finger grooves on that handle. But the ergos are still really nice. Zero hot spots at all. And yeah, I'm sure you guys have noticed, no pocket clip either. But that's not really a deal breaker for me because they included this leather sheath, and This is something I didn't know they were going to include when I was ordering this knife. Very nice leather sheath. You can see the belt loop back here. No snaps or anything like that, so you have to thread your belt through. There is a snap for the top leather piece right here that folds over the top. And if I put the knife in there, you can see that snap is really solid. That is a solid snap. But like I said, I wasn't expecting this leather sheath at all. You can see it's all hand sewn. Pretty nicely taken care of. Really nice leather work here. And I've had this for about a month now. And you can see it's already starting to patina. So the real color is right here on the back, and that front is already starting to get a little patina on it. But guys, what do you think of my new knife pickups right here? The limited edition QSP Mustang. Put that right there. The Geo Knife Ethereal Cutter. I don't know about that name. And the Vosteed Valhund. What do you guys think? All right, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. If you want to check out these knives for yourself, I will have links down below in my description box. But if you did enjoy this video, please give me that thumbs up. Please subscribe and go.